Near mint condition, the home of collected editions.
That cover's so awesome.
That, as they say, is that. Marvel Comics, let's go ahead and get started. Gather around, all you Minties, because we're not done with the most wanted list. That's right, today I'm going to be talking about my top 10 most wanted Spider-Man related Omnis. Doesn't just have to be Spider-Man, it can be related to Spider-Man. So, let's go ahead and get started. How the heck do people sit down with hats this big? And welcome back, everybody. Now, before going any further, thank you to our patrons for making videos like this possible. Could not be doing this without you all. And I did do my top 20 most wanted Marvel Omnis, my top 10 most wanted X-Men Omnis. Even in my top 20 most wanted Marvel Omnis, I had the Marvel Team Up in there and then Omnibus. And then I thought, wait, I mean, technically, loopholes and all, I could do 10 more Spidey Omnis because I had them on the list to begin with, and then before I shuffle things around. So I thought this year, let's go ahead and talk about my top 10 most wanted Spider-Man family, Spider-Man related Omnis. So that's what I'm going to be talking about today. And in the comment section, let me know what your most wanted Spider-Man Omnibus would be. And of course, any from the list that you think, hey, that would be a good Omnibus. Alright, this is a countdown, just like before. Before I go any further, smash that like button, please. It goes a long way for us here on the channel. Very small thing you can do, but it means the world to us. Especially with these new algorithms. All these AI shorts drive me nuts. Alright, let's go ahead and start with number 10. Kicking it off with Ben Reilly's Scarlet Spider Omnibus. This is a series that I don't think a lot of people know about. It is mostly by Peter David. Give or take an issue here and there. You have artwork in here by Mark Bagley. So it is two people that are no stranger to the character of Spider-Man. However, this time around, this is the 2017 series that focuses on the character of Ben Reilly. And then, of course, with a couple of secrets here and there. And then this is taking place after, of course, the events of the original Clone Saga. And immediately after the Dan Slott era of Spider-Man, but mainly the Clone Conspiracy. But it spun out of that, and it gave us some awesome stories, because it is Peter David, who knows his history about Spider-Man. And he's not the only character from the 90s that will show up in here. You'll have some of the slingers, and then also maybe a character named Kane will show up through here. But it was a lot of fun, and those trade paperbacks are unfortunately out of print. But who knows, maybe one day we'll get a big collection like this that will collect the entire series. And even I would kick it off with the material from the Clone Conspiracy. Alright, coming in at number 9. This one's going to be... woo! Alright, let's see how well it does, though. Spectacular Spider-Man Omnibus Volume 2. Now, why did I hesitate? Because for people that have been getting the Omnis, we know that this is going to double dip heavily. And that is mainly due to the Roger Stern Omnibus, which collects issues 43 to 61 and 85. And if you're looking at the contents of this book, there's a lot of double dipping, but I mean, there's just no other way around it. What I did was pretty much put the 3 masterworks together, which is what they did with Volume 1 of the Omnibus. And it does include the annuals, which were not collected in that particular Roger Stern Omnibus. And it does collect issues 62 to 79, which was not collected outside of the Marvel Masterworks. So you are looking at, of course, Roger Stern's run in here, Ed Hannigan, Frank Miller supplying some of the covers, but you also have Tom DeFalco and Al Milgrom, Bill Mantlo, of course. And this was the title where people went to go and try out to be a Spider-Man writer, which is why Uncle Raj started there before getting the gig in Amazing Spider-Man. And I realize there's a lot of double dipping, but we've come to that point where there's going to be in this and in Amazing Spider-Man Omni. So that's just the way it is. So you can collect either creator-centric books or event books. I know there are different options out there. Or you can wait around, I don't know how long it's going to be, of course, for these eventual chronologically order Omnis to come out. So now Volume 3 shouldn't double dip that much, or at all, really. But Volume 2, there'll be some heavy double dipping. but I still think it's important to be on the shelf. Number 8, Spider-Man slash family slash friends. Silver Sable and the Wild Pack Omnibus. This is a series that's from the 90s, and I was a fan of it. I was getting it. I remember when I was a kid, I had theories about who, because it was at first a little bit of a mystery as to who Silver Sable was, and or who her father was. And I was like, oh man, I bet they're gonna make her related to. I was an idiot. I was like, they're gonna make her related to Cable. Yeah, no, that they didn't do that at all. But this is a series that came out in the 90s, spun out of course, Spider-Man, which is where she made her first appearance. And then she got her own team. It did cross over a little bit, of course, with not just Spider-Man, but also a lot of the other Marvel characters, like the Punisher. Sometimes she would cross over into the Punisher. And this is all the character of Sylvia Sablinova. I'm totally butchering that made-up name, although that's probably a real name. But that is what I would love to see, the entirety of that book collected in an omnibus format. No way could we get that chromium embossed cover. It would be really cool, though. In here, you are going to find the work mainly of Gregory Wright and Stephen Butler working on this series all the way up until the end, really. Both of them just Tom Greinberg, I think, did some of fill-in issues. Joseph Rubinstein, I know, did some of the inks in here. And I know what Gordon Purcell, that was the other guy that also did some of the issues in here. I know what it was. It wasn't just the white hair that I thought, oh, Cable is going to be her dad. It was the fact that he was running with the 6-pack and she was running with the Wild Pack. Yeah, no, that never came to be. You're going to find characters like Venom that guest star in here. You're going to find characters like Deadpool that guest star in here, the Beetle, Sandman, who was a big part of this, of course, and a couple of other surprises. But it's mainly your street level characters that appeared during this particular series. And all of it in one omnibus. I thought for a second, like, maybe we should put the Wild Pack or her first appearance in there. Then I thought, nah, that's a little too much. But let's go ahead and talk about number 7. I didn't realize I was going to be talking about Silver Sable that much. All right, coming in at number 7 is Superior Spider-Man Omnibus Volume 2. That's right, there's enough material for a second volume. And a lot of it, some of you all have asked, where is Superior Spider-Man Team Up 1 through 12? This is where I would put it, along with the missing issues of Superior Spider-Man. I realize there's a new series that is going on right now of Superior Spider-Man by Dan Slott. So I think maybe they might wait until that series is over, until Dan Slott is just 100% completely done with the character of Superior Spider-Man. And when he's ready to come back, I don't know, maybe it'll be enough for a volume 3. But I figured that's where I would map it, and the new series can fit completely in here if they wanted to. But I guess that's really up to, well, Marvel and I guess Dan Slott if he's done or not. But that series is still ongoing. So who knows? Maybe one day this will fatten up for enough of a Volume 2 omnibus. Coming in at number 6, Silk Omnibus. A very underrated character, but I really ended up enjoying her run. Coming out of the whole Spider-Verse event, and this is this character of Cindy Moon, who is looking for her family. And there have been a series of 3, I don't think they were called complete collections, 3 different trade paperbacks that collected her original run with, of course, Dan Slott that kicked it off, but also Robbie Thompson and Stacey Lee and Tana Ford. And she has had other little mini-series that have come out throughout the recent years, which I also wanted to add here. And, of course, the big crossover with Spider-Woman and Spider-Gwen. All of it in this particular omnibus. She was a really fun character I didn't expect to like, just because Spider-Verse is one of those things that if Spider-Verse is your thing, that's great. That's more power to you. I just was like, man, there's just so many characters out of the Spider-Verse. But then again, you're talking to an X-Men guy, so whatever. But anyway, yes, all of it collected in one particular omnibus. Coming in at number 5 is Scarlet Spider Omnibus. This is another series I don't think a lot of people know about, but man, it was so good. And that mainly has to do with Chris Yost. This is the first time I remember seeing this guy named Ryan Stegman's artwork just completely blow up. He had drawn Spider-Man, of course, for a little bit, not not the ongoing series, just the fill in here and there. But he was given this, and I got a lot of Todd McFarlane vibes. This is the character of the Scarlet Spider, and I'm not going to say who is underneath that mask because, well, that's part of the beauty and the secret of this character. This is a different series than Ben Reilly Scarlet Spider. This is the series by Christopher Yost and Coy Palm, and also Ryan Stegman, as I mentioned a little bit earlier. But as when he leaves the book, I think it's Coy Palm that mainly takes over the run. But it is a new character. It's been a character that's been around for a while, but this is his new identity, known as the Scarlet Spider. Oh, that series is so good. I mean, obviously they're here for a reason. This is the series that took place in 2012 to 2014, I believe is when it ended. But before the clone conspiracy and before the Ben Reilly book. Absolutely. Number 4, Spider-Woman The Early Years Omnibus. I said, you know what? Let's do it. All of it in one omnibus. We got over 50 issues, including a big supersized one with Avengers Annual 10. But I feel like Avengers Annual 10 is important because it's like, hey, Jessica's still with us. When you read the Avengers issues, you'll see what I'm talking about. But all of it collected in one big omnibus. I think it's time. They've been collected in Masterworks fully. And you've got the work in here, of course, Archie Goodwin, Marv Wolfman, Carmine Infantino, Ron Wilson, Sal Buscema, and Chris Claremont, just to name a few of the creators working on this book. So I think it's, yeah, Jessica Drew really needs an omnibus. And I would love for them to start at the beginning. I mean, we have enough content, obviously, for a modern omnibus, but I would love for the beginning to be collected. It was this era that I fell in love with the character, mainly because of the cartoon, even though the cartoon took a lot of liberties with Spider-Woman. Number 3, Spider-Man Big Time Omnibus Volume 1. So what exactly is this? Big Time was an era of Spider-Man that happens right after the Brain Trust. And the Brain Trust is, of course, when those people like Dan Slott and Mark Waid and Zeb Wells and Bob Gale, they got together to write a weekly Spider-Man series. When everybody else left, with the exception of Dan Slott, it became the Big Time era. So it was just Dan Slott taking just the entirety of the book and running with it. And of course, he's not alone because he also got Humberto Ramos in there. And you got other creators like Fred Van Lente and Todd DeZago. Zeb Wells would come back from time to time. Mark Waid would come back from time to time. But it was mainly, this is known as the Dan Slott era. Would it be the Dan Slott, Spider-Man by Dan Slott omnibus? I have a fear that if I did something like that, they would leave out issues that were not written by him. And we already have that with the Joe Kelly omnibus. We don't need another one of those Frankenstein omnis. I love everything being collected. So Big Time is the way to go. Just like they did Brand New Day. So here's hoping after Brand New Day Volume 2, whenever that gets announced, I'm not making an announcement. None of these are announcements, by the way. We will get a Spider-Man Big Time omnibus. Coming in at number 2, I realized that it's been collected in Modern Epic Collection. I don't care. It's the way that I want it. And that is Spider-Girl Omnibus Volume 1. Because it would definitely take more than one omnibus to finish this series out. And, of course, collecting her first appearance with that What If issue, which was later, I think, rebranded as Spider-Girl Zero, if I'm not mistaken. But it's What If 105. So it is Tom DeFalco, Ron Frenz, who had worked together before in books like Thor, and they did a little bit of, well, it was mainly Paul Ryan, but Ron Frenz did do some of the Thor, or not Thor, I'm sorry, Fantastic Four. But this is the story of Mayday Parker, and it is her adventures as the Spider-Girl from this particular possible future, because it starts off with the What If comic. And it just goes back to the classic days of Spider-Man that I enjoyed so much, just with a little bit of a twist, and of course that futuristic twist. So think Batman Beyond, because she still needs a mentor, and the mentor comes in different people. So, oh my gosh, it's just one of my most favorite series, underrated series. I'm so glad they're doing a Modern Epic collection, but I would love for this to be collected in and omnibus format. Now, my number one, I thought about this a lot. And I was like, well, Spider-Man 7. And I'm like, there's no way. That's way too soon. We haven't even gotten 6 yet. It's not out yet as of this video. So I thought, what's another era that they've been doing a good job with? And I thought, oh, you know what? Post-Clone Saga. Let's do the post-Clone Saga. So I'm calling it Spider-Man The Final Chapter Omnibus. And it is collecting all of the stories after the Clone Saga and Ben Reilly Omnibus. So if you're looking at the chronological order without missing most, like collecting about 97% of books, all Amazing Spider-Man, of course, just not the graphic novel one-shots, we're looking at Spider-Man by Michelini and McFarlane, Spider-Man by Michelini and Larson, Spider-Man by Michelini and Bagley Volumes 1 and 2. That takes us directly into Clone Saga 1 and 2, and that takes us directly into Ben Reilly 1 and 2, leaving this era to be collected. There has been a couple of trade paperbacks in the past, so I included all of the crossovers in here, and the 2 missing annuals. That will take us to the next chapter, as it's called, and that's the one by Howard Mackie and eventually John Byrne. Maybe they can remap that omnibus, because that mapping on that omnibus. But anyway, I feel like this is the era that needs to be collected. Now that we got those omnis, let's focus on this, and that's it. Bob's your uncle? Is that what they say? Now, if and when these books are ever announced and come out, check out our sponsors.
If you're in Europe and you're interested in buying these books, definitely check out Walt's Comic Shop in Berlin, Germany. They have the cheapest pre-order prices, flat shipping rate of €12 for all EU countries, emails answered within 24 hours, waltscomicshop.com, and you can use the code nearmintcondition at checkout and get free shipping for all EU countries with your first order over €40. That's Walt's Comic Shop, your reliable source for omnis and premium collected editions in Europe. Ding!
CheapGraphicNovels.com, your online home for graphic novels and collected editions up to 50% off cover price. They have excellent shipping and prompt and helpful service. Check out their bargain deals for up to 90% off cover price. And don't forget, the CGN also takes pre-orders. That way you don't miss out on the hottest releases. And they are currently running a special promotion for you Minties. If you're a first-time customer, after receiving your order confirmation email, reply back to that email and let them know Near Mint Condition sent you their way. They will then apply a free shipping promotional credit to your next order in the US. Cheap Graphic Novels, your source for the hottest books with the kind of deep discount, quality shipping, and customer service that will keep you coming back for more. And that was my list of the top 10 most wanted Spider-Man Omnis, or Spider-Man family, or Spider-Man related. Let me know in the comments down below which ones piqued your interest, which ones you didn't even know about that were a series, and what you would have added. I always love asking what people want. I'm pretty sure, you know, most people want different things, and that's the beauty of these lists, is that everybody wants a little bit something different, because you come at the list and you're like, wait a minute, that's not accurate. That's not what we want. And I love when people say we, when they really just mean me. Just like this list is my list. Anyway, that's it, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. This has been a blast. If you want me to do my top 10 gallery or masterpiece editions, let me know in the comments down below. Stay healthy and safe out there. Much love. Can I do the dual wielding? Not bad. You know, I'm owning it.